Hey, welcome back. So, today we have a really fun video where we are ranking old freaky historical medicinal practices um,
Mhm.
based off of our omnipotent, omniscient, um, all knowing knowledge as 20-year-old girls in the 20.
That I didn't know where you were going with that. That was a
Mhm,
a ride.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
let's talk about it. And we're ranking
So,
them.
yes, we're ranking them. We'll start off with most well known lobotomies
Let's talk
as
about it.
20-year-old girls in the 21st century.
We know about lobotomies. So
Mhm.
this one was very interesting to me because when I was researching this one of the first things that came up is a guy called Phineas Gage. I don't know that if you've ever heard of him. I'll tell you that
Never
you
in my life.
have. You
Oh.
have because I did a presentation one year in school on him. And clearly you didn't listen. He was a railroad worker. In 1848, a crowbar that he was using to tamp dynamite, the dynamite exploded and the crowbar went like through his skull. And he lived from the injuries, even though it pierced all the way through his skull and through his brain. And so this was one of like the very first noted instances of a patient like having such a significant brain injury and living through it. Anyway, later on down the line in 1935, another doctor had a lot of mentally ill patients that were like very hard to deal with, very aggressive, very unruly, and so they were just kind of throwing stuff at a wall and hoping stuff sticked. And so the beginning of using lobotomies to try to treat patients with mental illness and aggressive personality disorders. Typically, lobotomies, as we think of traditionally, were performed with an ice pick and a hammer. The ice pick was put through the patient's orbital roof into their brain and then rotated 15 degrees back and forth and then removed. And that's a lobotomy. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I do remember learning about the guy in school who got a metal pipe, something, something. I
Through his
didn't know it
head.
was you that gave that
It
presentation. What
was.
was the
It was
presentation
me.
on?
It was on him.
Oh, it was just on him.
Yeah. It was in our neuro class.
Oh, okay.
And it was on that guy and the fact that he survived but was forever altered.
Anything else on lobotomies?
No, that was it. There's probably a lot more. There's a lot of information online
Yeah.
about lobotomies. There's
Yeah.
famous people that have been lobotomized. We just don't need
No.
to people we've talked about that to death. So,
Have
let's
we?
move on.
Who
As
are
a
the famous people that
society,
have been lobotomized?
as a society, I feel like we
Name
have.
one.
I can't think about it because I didn't look her up. I thought, no, everybody knows that. And I didn't look it up, and I don't know. It
Okay.
was Kennedy, one of the Kennedys. Hold on.
Oh, one of like the Kennedy women, right?
Rosemary Kennedy, yeah, had a lobotomy.
Oh,
And she was
that's
forever changed.
sad.
She
I don't
had her
want to hear about
lobotomy
it
when she was
anymore.
only
I don't want to hear
23.
about it anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
The
okay.
next one is trepanation, which is really similar to lobotomies. I think it came out before lobotomies. And
Yes.
basically, what it is drilling holes into the skull. The idea is if you are having an issue like epilepsy or some sort of mental illness, there is a dark spirit trapped in your brain. So if we drill a hole, we let it out, you won't have that problem anymore. I couldn't really find any evidence that like it worked.
I
I think
feel
because
like
it was just done so back then.
yeah.
So what were you gonna feel like?
Well, I feel like there probably were some instances where it did work for some of these cases cuz like present day that's still a treatment for some granted very severe things, but like there are some very severe conditions where a burr hole does solve the problem. Headaches are such a vague complaint that like, yeah, maybe sometimes the patient had a really bad headache. They put a hole in their head and relieved some of the intracranial fluid, and like, yeah, maybe you don't have a headache anymore. That's just my 2 cents.
Right. Yeah, sure.
As a medical
Another thing is
professional.
people were awake for it. They did not put you to sleep
Yeah,
to
that's
get a
pretty
hole drilled
tough.
in your head.
Yeah.
Okay, so ranking between lobotomies and trepanation, which one do you think is like the weirder? Let's see. Me and Lauren had said what we are ranking these treatments based off of, and we said like number one is going to be something we definitely don't want done to us, and that doesn't or does have some sort of medical benefit.
I think, like, least medical benefit.
Okay. Okay. So one that we do not want done to us and does not have any medical benefit.
Yeah, because those kind
So
of go together a little bit, right? I would think.
I'm gonna go lobotomy number one,
Mhm.
trepanation number two.
Yeah, me too. Right,
All
but you
right.
have to get the spirits out of your head, so that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I've been getting the spirits out in a different way, but trepanation is one way to do it.
That is a crazy thing for you to say.
Okay, number three, bloodletting.
Mhm.
I looked into this one pretty heavily. And after
Mhm.
looking into this, I kind of stopped looking into all the others because it led me nowhere. All of these medical treatments, they're like rumors that people heard from their grandmas before writing was invented. So, bloodletting is possibly medieval, possibly Egyptian. Who knows? Um, Actually, they do know. It became popular by Hippocrates, which I had never heard of, but he's like very popular in the medical scene.
Yeah,
Um,
like the Hippocratic Oath.
yes, yeah. He came up with that. Do no harm
Yeah.
is what he
Yeah,
came
and then
up
he
with.
did some harm, huh?
I mean, I don't know that bloodletting is really doing harm. We can get into it. So, he had a belief that your body has four or all of life in general has four elements, and all of those elements need to be in balance in order for you to be healthy. So,
Mhm.
one element is fire, which in our body is warmth. It can be associated with yellow bile. Another one, earth, dryness in your body, is associated with black bile. I don't know the difference between yellow and black bile. That is
Right, and who
something
would?
for everyone to look up on their own because this it's not the point of this. But um basically if you have too much yellow bile, it means you have too much fire in you and it can cause problems in your gallbladder. Too much black bile, too much earth in you can cause problems in your spleen. And then if we get to the basis of bloodletting or blood is like a representation of air, coolness in your body, and too much blood can cause problems in your head, which scientifically they still sort of believe that. Like if your blood vessels are too big and you have too much fluid in your head, it causes headaches, problems,
Right.
etc. So what they would do is if you were having problems in your head or problems with like temperature regulation, such as like fever or mental illness, seizures, that kind of thing, doctors carried around starved leeches that they would put onto your body. And the reason they're starved is because they were more efficient at bloodletting when they were starved. So they would just suck out the blood from you. They could also cut you open and just leave that. But with the leeches, it was a lot more controlled. Like as soon as the leeches are done sucking your blood, like they just take them off. It's done. You don't have an open wound. And it was used for like a long time. So I think it did help certain things. Even now, leeches are still used. I don't think they're used in like Western medicine, but they
Mm.
are definitely still used today because whatever like enzymes in their saliva can actually thin out blood and it can prevent clots. So if you have problems with circulation, like if you are diabetic, you get problems in your feet with circulation,
Mhm.
they will put leeches at your feet to garner some of that circulation down there, and
Mhm.
it, like, actually helps. So it helps people who have circulation problems or some kind of, like, vascular coagulability problems, and also, it's sort of the basis for cupping now. If you have, like, an injured area,
Ah,
they would
uh-huh.
put a leech on you to bring more blood to that area to kind of
Yeah.
help your cells have more nutrients. Now they just use a cup. So that's
Hmm.
bloodletting. Where
I
would you
think
rank it?
that I think that having a leech stuck to me compared to 2 options of holes in my brain and head,
Mhm. Mhm.
definitely that one's going bottom of our list, but
Okay.
I it's just the
Yeah.
only thing that I have a hard time with it, the humors, that doesn't make sense to me. I
Mhm.
don't think that it's wrong. I'm not gonna say that because I don't know what I'm talking about, but
Right.
the
I'm struggling to figure out, like, what coldness has to do with blood,
yeah,
because blood in my mind is warmth.
and also wet.
It is also wet, but I would say that phlegm is more wet.
Yeah, the wet makes sense. What also is tripping me up just a little bit with these humors is they are assigning these 4 humors of fire, air, earth, and water, warmth, coldness, dryness, wetness, but they know what a gallbladder is? How are we
Right.
those
So
feel
it started with Hippocrates saying fire, warmth, air,
mm,
coldness, all of that good stuff. And then as they can like look at the body and dissect bodies, they started relating certain organs to these humors. So like if people were dying from warmth, they would open them up after dying and see that they had a problem with their gallbladder.
mhm, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
In my mind. Not confirmed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Next on our list is medical cannibalism, which sounds so insane. What could that even
Yeah,
mean?
I feel like that sounds crazier than it is, and this is another practice that we low key still do. I mean, I was gonna relate it, like, kind of to transplants.
Uh, okay.
If you have a bad heart, you need a healthy person's heart. It's not transplant, it's consuming healthy organs in order
Yeah.
to try to absorb those nutrients and make your own organs healthier, which probably to
Yeah.
a certain extent helped. Nobody was really like gnawing at dead carcasses. What it mostly was is that people would take usually blood or bones from recently deceased people or even well well off deceased people, and they would like the bone they would crush up into some sort of solution and you drink that, so you're mostly drinking, like you're drinking bone.
Right, and that's a lot better.
That's better than eating it off of the person. Something that I did find really weird was so, like, rich people could tomb raid, dig up all of these mummies, and have all of these elixirs made for them to consume,
Mhm.
but poor people, all they could do was go to public executions with a cup and try to catch blood, and try to catch blood.
Ugh.
Which is awesome. Um, one thing that I did find though was in 8th century China, so very early on, um,
Mhm.
young people would voluntarily cut off some of their own flesh. And so it went like kind of into detail, like they would use a tourniquet and basically like so that they wouldn't feel it anymore. They would just cut off some flesh and basically put it in like a stew and then have a really old person drink it. Those old people are not alive to tell us if it worked. So I'm gonna say it did not work.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then as recently as, like, 2012, I mean, body parts were found on, like, black markets. So, like, I don't know if you ever
Like for
watched that movie with Sebastian Stan.
mm,
Human body parts are still being consumed.
is that though still for like medicinal purposes though, or for like weird
Um,
fetishes?
no, so, like, the ring that they busted, like, in 2012 was mostly for placenta, and placenta has been used in a lot of
That is a
medicinal
thing, yeah. A
ways.
lot of
Yeah,
people are into eating their placenta, which
yeah. Which, like, if it's your own, that's ethically sourced, that's awesome.
on that note too, amniotic membranes are a thing.
Right. There are contact lenses that can be made from amniotic membrane, placenta, basically. Um, and I'm obsessed with them. They heal, like, everything on the eye, but they're so expensive, and I was talking to one of
Yeah.
the optometrists that we work with, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know how they get the placenta. Even if it's they're just going to hospitals and collecting it,
Mhm.
moms aren't getting paid for it."
Right. It's
Which
kind
moms not getting paid for it is the least of my concerns. There are probably markets for yeah, we don't even need to get into it.
yeah, we don't. Let's rank.
Um, medicinal cannibalism, I would definitely put above bloodletting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you put it above trepanation?
like borderline.
I feel like we're gonna find out a lot about each other ethically tonight.
I just don't find from what we have discussed the medical necessity. Like we've just said, yeah, people have done it, but like why? Like for what is it doing for you? And like the
Right.
trepanation thing, like I kind of get it and is like still a
I mean, like, I eat a lot of red meat for the iron. I would assume drinking blood, same thing, you get a lot of iron just straight from the source. Stop, don't make that face. Um, and I mean, it's similar to like, I mean, it's not similar to a blood transfusion because you're not putting it in your veins,
yeah.
but you are absorbing it somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just I don't
I
think
think,
you've provided me enough information
I
to
think it is more medically necessary than drilling a hole in your head.
I I don't know if I can agree with
I can think of so many reasons
you.
why you would want other nutrients from I mean, just same thing. Same thing as, like, eating an animal, I feel.
Yeah,
You are
I
just
mean,
getting
yeah,
nutrient from a human.
I guess. There's just other ways to get nutrients
I
nowadays.
mean oh, for sure, and there are other ways to release the demons in your head.
Right, but what if the demons are just cerebrospinal fluid? If I'm dying and I have a brain bleed, yeah, stick a hole in my head.
I don't think you mean that.
I think that I
I'm
do.
strongly
They did it on the
suggesting
pit. They did it on the pit.
who did they do that to on the pit?
They did it on the pit. There's an episode of the pit where they perform a burr hole. So I feel like that counts it as more medically relevant than eating dead people.
We can put it above trepanation.
Okay, thank you. This next one I've found very interesting. Maybe you
I'm
don't?
glad you found it interesting. Yeah, so this is called the royal touch, where basically people would get sick specifically with a form of tuberculosis that just made the lymph nodes very, very enlarged.
Mhm.
So enlarged that it would cause, like, ulcers or sores to form at the top, and they would go to the kings of England and France who claimed to have, like, divine healing power, and they would just get touched by the king. Wikipedia said that this usually goes away on its own, so that's why kings could just touch it and cure it.
That's why I love this one. That's
Um,
so funny.
the ailment that I was talking about where the lymph nodes get really inflamed
Mhm.
is called scrofula, which it can be translated as the king's evil.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Scrofula.
So where are you ranking it?
This would be like I get sick and then I get in line and wait to be just bopped on the head by Donald Trump. And when I eventually am no longer sick, I say, oh, thank God for him. Thought about using Barack Obama as my example, but I didn't want to be confusing because he's not the current president.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's
exactly
that.
like that.
Yeah, and that maybe even is something that's happening present day.
Yeah, so where would you rank it?
I mean, this one's kind of tough because it's just really not that crazy.
Mhm.
It's like not, it has like literal zero medical benefit because it's just like a placebo, basically.
I mean, but placebo does work.
Of all of the things that we've talked about, this feels the safest and least invasive. So I think this is going bottom of the list
Me
for
too.
me. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do one of yours?
Yeah, let's talk about soothing syrup.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it.
So, soothing syrup was a patent medication, which is old-timey word for over-the-counter medication that was given to infants and young children to calm children, clean their teeth, freshen their breath, and relieve diarrhea. Hey, all little kids need all those things, probably. Kids are gross. Parents were buying this and giving it to their kids because, like, yeah, those are all great things. My kid is pooping their pants, screaming and crying. Let's give them some of this syrup, make them stop. Patent medications back in the day did not have to list their ingredients. So parents were just giving it to them left and right. The ingredients of soothing syrup are morphine and alcohol. Two things notoriously you should not give to an infant. Morphine is very dangerous for young children and infants. And even the teeniest, tiniest amount is very unsafe for them. So, as a result, babies would get very calm and go to sleep and then sadly just never wake up.
Gosh.
Yeah. And so that's very sad. In
Yeah, so
1911,
that's very sad.
yeah, what else is there to say, really? Truthfully. Uh,
Facts.
yeah, facts. That's sad. Babies dying is sad. Facts. No cap. A lot of things crazy about that. Number one, dead babies. Sad, crazy. Number two, over the counter medications not listing any ingredients in them is kind of crazy. One of the other things that I felt like was kind of crazy about this is my last thing to say about my research on it is that in 1911, the AMA denounced, the American Medical Association denounced this kind of cough syrup, and that is a quote this time. They denounced it, but it was still sold for 20 years after. It was still sold until 1930. So
I'm sure the babies developed a dependence on it. The babies who lived,
maybe. And
probably.
I did find some other stuff in my research too, talking about like heroin also came to be around this similar time. And heroin was touted to be a non-addictive form of morphine. As we all know presently, that's couldn't be farther from the truth. So,
Right. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know that.
Well,
I guess Lauren knows that.
heroin
She's
in the
been
United
dabbling.
States is listed as having just no medical use. Morphine still has its medical use label. Something else very interesting though, in the UK, they're using heroin for stuff all the time, like morphine. But in the United
No
States, it's not
way.
used. It has no accepted medical relevance. But in the UK, they like use it medically. In extreme circumstances, I
For
think a lot of
what?
it's like palliative care for like hospice kind of patients to help with pain and things like that. But yeah, in the US, it's not considered medically acceptable. But morphine is still
I think if I was on my
used.
deathbed, I'd probably want to do heroin.
Yeah. Hey, why not? Hey, why not? So,
Why
where
not?
are we ranking this one?
I mean, it did actively kill its patients, which seems pretty bottom of the list.
Bottom of the list?
Yeah. Like Royal Touch, I feel like it wasn't hurting.
Right. I feel like that would put it at the top of our list then, right?
Oh, right. You're right.
Worse than the Royal Touch.
Okay.
Worse than bloodletting, even.
I can be seeing that.
I think I
Worse
would
than
even say,
trepanation, I would say.
I would even say worse than medical cannibalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, next one I have is coaxing the wandering womb.
Whoa.
You ever heard of this?
I have not.
Really? I hadn't really either. The wandering room or wandering womb is the belief that the womb in the body is a living creature. It makes life, so it therefore is life itself.
Hey, there's times where it feels like a
It's a
living
wandering creature.
trying to claw its way out.
Yeah.
It needs to get out
Right.
now.
Except the only thing to appease the wandering womb is to be pregnant. That's the only way to keep it there. Depending on where it is in the body, it can cause certain ailments. Specifically, it is the reason for women's emotional instability. So, like, I'm feeling very happy when it's on the right side of my body. I don't know this for a fact. Coming up with examples.
Yeah.
I'm feeling anxious when it's on the left side of my body. I'm feeling angry when it's up towards my lungs, etc. So obviously that's not the way that organs work. It was first written about by Plato, but I think it was already like a common belief. And I put this like direct translation here because it says that the womb is moved of itself hither and thither in the flank. That is just some crazy words.
I didn't even know
Anyway,
thither was a real word. I thought.
well, it's only to describe the animal that is the womb.
Oh, right.
So it's altogether erratic. It delights in fragrant smells and advances towards them. So what they would do to treat a woman suffering from emotional instability is they would put sweet smelling stuff down there and then put rancid, gross smelling stuff up near their nose and mouth so that the womb would go away from here and move down towards its position. Kind of the opposite of what we do now with Honey Pot. Have you ever tried a Honey Pot pad?
Yeah, I use them all the time now.
Yeah.
That felt
Do
like you were about to start reading a Honey Pot pad sponsorship. Yeah, I do. I use Honey
By
Pot.
calling it rancid and horrible smelling? Right.
You think they smell that bad? I use the minty ones.
You
They
know,
smell
I'm not
nice.
smelling them.
Okay, where are we ranking that one?
That's gotta go close to the top.
Yeah, this is completely medically incorrect. No relevant
Right, but it's
medical
like
usage of it.
relatively harmless. Well, no,
Right.
because you're smelling something bad.
Well, yeah, but people are dying in these other scenarios.
I'd put it below soothing syrup, above medicinal cannibalism.
You just want to eat a dead person so bad, huh?
Okay. Let's put it below medicinal cannibalism.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you want to put it above trepanation?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right.
Maybe I can talk
Bring
about
us your next one.
about vision and sight. This is going to be a really great one. Something that I found in some of my research was something called a better sight vibrator. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
No.
Okay. Well, what this was, and apparently there were several other iterations, but there was one that branded itself as Better Sight Vibrator Company. And they had flyers that said that on it. So they made these little vibration devices that you put on your eye and they vibrated, right, all in the name. The vibrations were supposed to increase blood flow to the eye and the extraocular muscles to increase blood flow, which they believed would improve your sight. Now, you and I probably both know very well, your extraocular muscles don't really have anything to do with your visual acuity and your ability to read things. They move your eyes, right? Which is part of seeing. But these people are like claiming like if you're myopic, vibrate your eye and you won't need glasses anymore. And like that's not really how it's going to happen. Also, increasing blood flow to those muscles wouldn't even do anything for them because they are skeletal muscles that don't benefit from that. So an increased blood flow, even if it was happening by just this vibration of your eye, would frankly do nothing for you.
Right, but it would probably feel so nice.
It might feel nice. And hey, maybe we could make the argument, maybe some MGD therapy coming from it. A little
Right.
micro expression
And you
of your
would see better in
dry
that.
eye. Yeah. Hey, yeah, maybe. But there were several different devices like this that I found in the same article. Some of them involved batteries, some of them involved just a stick that was jiggled and poked. Lots of different kinds. They did not say whether or not they went over the eyelid or onto the surface of the eye, so I'll leave that to your imagination. There was one particular person that was very prolific about trying to tout these devices, and I guess everybody hated his guts from what I gathered from this article. His name was
Right, who
Charles
wouldn't?
Tyrrell, and he created multiple of these devices that I saw in this article that, again, I have the link to here. You can explore more on your own. But he got chased out of several towns in the United States, because this was like way back, like when there were like traveling salesmen were kind of a thing, is what I'm gathering. He was chased out of so many places in the United States that he decided to move to Europe, and he tried there also.
I would also chase Charles Tyrrell out of town.
It kind of sounds like you would work with him. It kind of sounded like you were into the vibration.
Whoa. No, Lauren, I think we need to disagree more on the podcast. It's not as fun to watch two people agree on everything all the time.
Okay. Should we rank this one?
Better Side Vibrator, I think I'm rating above Royal Touch. No, I think I'm rating it below Royal Touch because I think it's got some. No.
I want to rate it below Royal.
Okay, why?
Because I think both of them really aren't doing anything, but also maybe aren't really doing any harm. Because the Royal Touch one, right, is quite literally doing nothing.
Right, but you are
But
networking
the
when
vibration.
you Royal Touch.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Networking, though, I don't feel like is a medical treatment. Hey, though, you never know. I think that I could get behind the vibration having some sort of benefit, like expressing your meibomian glands, maybe, if we're gonna be like really hypothetical and crazy about stuff.
Which, like, vibration alone is not really gonna be expressing them.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It also just could feel nice. Maybe it would be nicer than some strange old man touching me.
Like, I just feel like it's more useless than the Royal Touch.
Like how?
In all the ways I've named, in the name of placebo, I just don't think you can placebo yourself into seeing better, obviously. And you can, whatever.
All right.
Sure, it's below.
No, you conceded on the medicinal.
No,
Let's put
below.
Royal Touch at the bottom still.
Okay.
All right.
Royal Touch is kind of being the most useful out of all of them. Oh, huh.
Are we deeming the bottom useful though, or just like least weird?
Least weird, most useful.
Yeah. Least weird, most useful. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of least weird, most useful, let's talk about maggot therapy.
Oh God.
You watch the latest episode of The Pit?
Yeah, I believe with you.
No, you didn't watch it with me.
No, we
This might
watched the
have been
second
episode
episode.
2. Was this episode 2
Yeah.
with the maggots? So maggot therapy, it
Yeah.
began in the American Civil War where these veterans would come wounded and doctors would put maggots on their wounds. What the maggots would
Mhm.
do is eat just decaying dead tissue and leave all of the healthy tissue alone. So it would actually help keep a wound clean and keep it like from needing to be dressed sooner so they could like put maggots on people and then go deal with some real problems that they had going on.
Mhm.
In 2004, it was officially cleared by the FDA as a legit therapy. So it is
Wow.
still low key being done. Obviously, not very often. It's only considered as like a last line treatment for things like bed sores and like just openings in the skin that are not caused by infection. Not all maggots are used for this, only a certain type of maggot. I don't really know what kind.
I didn't even
I
know there were
definitely,
different kinds.
yeah, I only thought there was one kind of maggot. But no, there's one that specifically only does dead dying tissue. The article that I read, the guy was talking about how like the first time that he'd ever heard of someone using this maggot therapy was during COVID when they couldn't like the patient couldn't come into the hospital as frequently, so they would do maggots at home. Yeah. So where would you rank it?
Can I be crazy and say the bottom of the list?
Below Royal Touch and Vibrating Eyes?
Yeah.
But it's like a legit therapy.
Yeah. That's why I think it should go on the bottom.
Okay, the ranking is not making sense to me. Yeah, okay. We can put it on the bottom.
We have the weirdest, least medically relevant stuff at the top of the list. Since
Okay.
this one has an FDA approval, I feel like that's got to be default bottom of the list.
Right. An FDA approval in George Bush time.
What does George Bush have to do with maggots?
You almost said it there. I just feel like if RFK was in charge of the FDA at that time versus a normal person in charge of the FDA, I don't know who was in charge of the FDA at that time. That's what I'm saying. Okay, number 10. Bring us home.
Intentionally giving people malaria to treat their syphilis. This is a part of a practice known as pyrotherapy, which was treatment of conditions by inducing a high fever. There were multiple methods that they employed to increase the temperature of their patients.
Yeah, I was gonna
Hot
say, feels like
baths.
there's a lot of ways to
Yeah, don't worry. There were others.
induce high fever other than malaria.
Many methods like hot baths, hot air, and electric blankets, which in an age where they have electric blankets,
Yeah,
I'm also feeling like malaria? Really? That's what we're going to go with? But on occasion, patients were intentionally infected with malaria, so they would get a super high fever from the malaria infection. And from what I gathered, and I am just kind of saying this, I didn't see explicitly this written on Wikipedia, but is that maybe sometimes the other things that they were doing to raise the temperature weren't raising it enough. And so malaria was maybe kind of one of their last ditch efforts in these pyrotherapy treatments.
Okay.
It also, I think, probably worked pretty well because in the time period where this was being used as a treatment, they had treatment for malaria, but not for things like syphilis, which is I think the most common one. In patients with late stage syphilis, they didn't really have any other treatments other than a really high fever. And so they were intentionally infecting patients with late stage syphilis with malaria. Their temperature would rise. They would give them enough malaria treatment to like keep them from dying without breaking their fever. And the fever would kill the syphilis, and then they would fully treat them for the malaria. And this treatment, actually, the creator of this treatment was awarded a Nobel Prize for.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like it works pretty good.
Yeah.
Except I did see that because I also saw this on somewhere that I was researching, and it did say that people died from the malaria, and that's why they stopped doing
Which,
it.
like, Yeah.
I mean, but
Right,
if
and
you're treating
antibiotics are a
them,
thing too. Yeah.
right?
Right. Malaria is probably just usually a lot more deadly than an antibiotic.
Mm,
So you
probably.
run that risk. So
Yeah. Okay, so where are we
that's pretty
putting
much all I
that?
have to say about that. Yeah. That's a tough one. Because people have died from this one that we are aware of, and nobody really died from maggots or royal touch that we know of. So maybe I feel like this one should go above those two. Are you following? Are you still confused by the list?
I am still confused by the list. Wherever you want to put it, I probably agree.
I think we should put it above royal touch.
Okay. So it's worse than royal touch. Then lastly, honorable mention, plague doctor outfits. I learned about this from one of the other people in Field Guide, and I just thought it kind of fit the theme, but it just missed our 10 deadline. But it was really cool. Those plague doctor outfits that we've seen in movies where they have the beak and the crazy
Mhm.
eyes and they're in all black. That
Mhm.
is because they had a belief that bad air caused all of these illnesses. And so doctors, whenever they would come help a patient, they would have a beak full of strong, nice smelling herbs like lavender and myrrh and all sorts of stuff as a barrier between the bad air of the patient and the good air of the doctor. They also have canes that they would carry around to like be able to examine the patient without having to touch them. And apparently the little hats that they wore were part of their doctor outfit too, just to differentiate them between.
Really? We should
Yeah.
bring that back. We should start wearing sick hats.
I already do, but
Forget a white coat. I'm gonna start showing up in a cowboy hat.
Okay, so final
Okay.
list from bottom to top. At number 10, we have maggot therapy because it's low-key actually helpful. Then
Yeah.
number 9, we have royal touch because it's
Mhm.
also low-key a little bit helpful, just a little less helpful. Then we have malaria for syphilis because it worked, but some people died.
Yeah.
Then we have vibrating eyes because it does nothing, but it feels nice. I actually feel like malaria should go above vibrating eyes.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you after saying that out loud.
Okay. So we have vibrating eyes, and then we have malaria for syphilis. Then we've got bloodletting because it didn't kill anyone, but it maybe didn't do a lot either.
Maybe.
It kind of did.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's before PubMed. Can't prove them wrong.
Okay.
Can't prove them right.
Right. Yeah.
Then at number 5, we have trepanation, drilling holes in the skull, not the brain.
Yeah.
Then at
That
number
one
4,
has some relevance, but also is really intense.
yeah, I
So,
don't know that you can call it some relevance just because they did it on the pit.
yeah,
All right. Okay, we're not gonna
that is
arguing
the
about it
foundation
anymore.
of all medical knowledge, the bit.
Number 4, coaxing the wandering womb. Absolutely no medical basis behind it at all whatsoever. It isn't gonna kill you. Then medicinal cannibalism. I'm not even gonna fight for it anymore, but
Yeah, give it up, girl.
no medical basis and people were dying for it. Then soothing syrup,
Yeah, I mean,
killing the youngest and healthiest of our generation.
yeah.
Then lobotomy,
Yeah,
no medical basis, ruining people's lives.
yeah, like, really awful.
All right, so that's the final list.
I need to tell you about burr holes now, just
No,
really
you don't.
fast.
No, you don't.
No, burr
No, you
holes.
don't.
Burr holes
All
from
right.
Johns Hopkins. From Johns Hopkins. Burr holes are small holes that a neurosurgeon makes in the skull, used to help relieve pressure on the brain when fluid such as blood builds up and starts to compress brain tissue. So that's basically the same as trepanation, minus the unholy spirits.
Except that's not what they were doing trepanation for.
Yeah, but sort of it was.
That's burr hole. Look up trepanation on John
All right.
Hopkins. And it's not going to come out. All right. Me and Lauren are going to get into a fight after this. Thank you for coming to our science sleepover. Good
Good
night.
night.